I have a prediction. Hear me out on this prediction. Over the next few weeks, you will see a number of news articles from the mainstream media reminding you why you should hate actor Mel Gibson, or at the very least, why you should ignore him. They will remind you that he's a bad person, a racist, an anti-Semite, and all manner of other things, they will tell you. They will republish the leaked audio recordings of his personal conversations where he said some really vile things that he later apologized for. We know these original recordings were edited before they were released. We now know that. How did they get out in the first place, you ask? How did these private conversations get out? How did the company that owns the National Enquirer get their hands on these tapes to begin with? Don't ask questions. Just shut up and follow along. This anti-Mel Gibson campaign will start soon. It's going to start. You watch. Mark my words. Because Mel Gibson and what he is about to reveal about Hollywood and beyond. We just learned that Mel Gibson is about to release a 4-part massive documentary series on the worldwide child sex trafficking ring that brings in $34 billion a year in revenue. $34 billion in revenue. Just for a frame of reference, the airline industry this year, it's bounced back. It's on pace to do $22 billion in revenue this year. 22. That's all airline companies combined. Child sex trafficking is more profitable than the airline industry. This news comes, though, on a day, today, the Wall Street Journal front page story exposing how Mark Zuckerberg's Instagram, yes, Instagram, is actively promoting in-person meetups for pedophilia networks. Here's the front page of the Wall Street Journal today. Instagram connects vast pedo network. The meta-unit systems for fostering communities have guided users to all sorts of child sex content. The company says it's improving their internal controls. Turns out all of those conspiracy theories about using a pizza emoji and a map that people said, no, that's like pedo language. That was a conspiracy theory. Turns out, just read the Wall Street Journal article. No, that's exactly how they communicated. If you're a seller, use pizza emoji. Use these different emojis to let people know what you want. It's all right there in Instagram. So that's happening. Wall Street Journal bombshell story. At America's border, tens of thousands of children are being brought into the United States for child sex trafficking. Censored. Our friend Michael Yan, former Green Beret war correspondent, has been covering this for us, doing an amazing job at the border and in Panama at the Darien Gap. He sent us this video that he filmed from the border with another journalist because there's huge money, big money, $34 billion in money, basically trafficking untraceable babies who have no birth certificates. No birth certificates, no records. They are censored for sex trafficking. Watch.
Obviously, we've shown you guys multiple camp areas in which it was not as obvious as what we're seeing here. Take a look at what we're seeing here. You start seeing nothing but children, food, blankets, little girls' articles of clothing, little boy or girls, little boy shoes, more little girl undergarments, little girl shoes, more little girl shoes. Another, I don't know if it's a woman or another girl's shoes. And there's baby bottles all the way in there. And just to show you guys, there's multiple baby bottles in here. Baby formulas, little girl jackets. What's that medicine to the left? Gloves? Pacifiers.
That's not a pacifier. That's a diva cup.
Latex gloves. Like, they had tons of kids in here, guys. Tons of babies in here, wrapped in blankets. Their evidence is here. The government is complicit in all this. They have children out here like dogs. This is incredible. This is a child camp, guys. You can't tell me that what we're seeing here and showing you guys, this is a child camp. This is a child in camp. Look, Infamil. Somebody's bringing them Infamil all the way out here to maintain these children before they get trafficked into the thirsty United States of America.
Let that sink in for a second. Makes me want to cry.
Oh. What he just called a pacifier was actually a menstrual cup that he just flung around. So, I mean, these are young people. Yeah.
So this is happening in the United States. The United States, the biggest purveyor of this, one of the biggest purveyors of this. Here is a former CIA agent explaining exactly how all of this works and why it's so profitable and basically untraceable.
These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easy to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture. Because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. The other working assumption is how long do these children survive within this system? What I am hearing from the witnesses that I've talked to is 2 years. It may be longer. It may be 4 years, it may be 6 years, but by and large, these children are so abused. I mean, we're talking rapes by the hour and so forth, that they reach their expiration date within 2 years. And then they're murdered with impunity, or they're ritually murdered if that's what they've been bred for.
What?
And you hear this from multiple CIA agents who've worked on these cases where they basically, and former FBI agents that we've spoken to here on this show who've infiltrated these cells and they've infiltrated these like chat rooms where they've tracked these people and then captured them. They show up at like little girls' homes anyway, awful stuff. Now, even before the racist Mel Gibson audio tapes were released, Mel Gibson was starting to expose Hollywood's dark side, the seedy side of Hollywood, and the children and these sex parties that had long been rumored in Hollywood, these $1 million to be accepted into these certain clubs in Beverly Hills. Oh yeah, they're there. They're real. The sacrifices. Yes, the sacrifices. Real. Gibson started to expose this slowly in some interviews. Here's just one example. This one's fairly tame for television.
That got full of the whole industry. I mean, it's a very strange place, Hollywood. But it's an odd place. And you imagine all these horror stories there that you think, boy, it seems as if I'm being sacrificed over here. No, that couldn't be true. And then you realize that it is true. And you have to, I just left for a while and took a couple of years off, bought a place down in Australia and started digging holes and putting up fences and birthing cattle and all this kind of stuff. And it was fun, you know, it was fun. It was great, and it was a good breather, you know.
Yeah. And then, of course, the comeback, what a comeback, Lethal Weapon. Yeah. You know, it wasn't bad, was it?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
So he comes back, yeah, and he just switches gears and let's just talk about the movies again. That's why you're here. Let's talk some fun stuff here. You were about to reveal some dark stuff about Hollywood and why you left and went back to Australia. You can't say that kind of stuff. You'll be pushed out, right? You'll be pushed out and you'll be defamed. And Gibson was, of course, destroyed. And now that these racist rants were exposed, who would possibly take him seriously after that, right? After those tapes were leaked. And Hollywood went on to survive another day. And we now know that a big portion of this new Mel Gibson documentary, this 4-part documentary, will center around Ukraine and Ukraine's child trafficking operation. Censored. And this is not just 10 kids, 100 kids, more than 10,000 kids, at least in Ukraine, sold off to be, quote, harvested. Yes, harvested, the words they use. Those are the words they use, not